You murdered yourself. You murdered yourself. You killed someone. That person happened to be you, but you couldn't even show up for yourself.
There's something about seeing a dead body where you're like, oh, he's not there.
Yeah, it's unmistakable.
He's not there. Telling me you were suicidal. I was like, okay, stop. We're gonna figure this out. You know, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure this out. It made me nervous because I was nervous that I wasn't gonna be there when you needed me to be there. It's not as simple as, you know, he stopped moving.
Right.
No, he's not there.
Yeah.
He wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would just get the call.
Just get the call. Yeah.
I mean, as a friend, that's the last thing you want to do is have some situation where you feel like maybe you could have called them and you could have made them feel better and they would have just gotten over that hump.
Yeah.
And then they would have been okay. Like, you became okay, man. I mean, you were my most depressed friend, and now you're probably one of my happiest friends.
And you're thinking to yourself, fucking God took away my mother, God did this is all God's fault. Because this the same God that I was raised to believe that was gonna help me is doing all this. A lot of times I wanted to fucking do a swan dive, but I didn't.
I remember this feeling of like understanding came across me, like, oh, like the thing is inside of you, whatever that is real. It's not just as simple as you're alive. Sometimes you don't find someone for a long time, and then when you do, it changes your whole life. He and I would talk about it. He would talk about all these jiu-jitsu wizards and all these people that were like super talented. I go, dude, you're a fucking wizard. I'm like, you're really fucking good, like really good. And he didn't want to kind of believe it. I placed him down. I gave him a kiss. I said goodbye. And he put the needle in the dog and put the dog to sleep. Then we both went outside, man. He was just crying, just weeping. You know,
This guy was good at the job right there.
He just loved.
He loved
animals, man. He had a ton of animals, man. He had cats and dogs and all kinds of shit. And he was killed by a drunk driver.
That was?
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one. I got an email, I believe, from his daughter.
Had a lot of chances to ice myself, thinking of getting out of fucking prison, and thinking of getting out on bail. When I got out on bail, I had a lot of fucking doubts, my friend.
Find a thing you like. Try to find a thing that you really enjoy. Try to find a thing that you're passionate about.
Like an activity.
Yes. For me, early on, it was drawing. It was illustrations. It was comic books. I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. And then it went from comic book drawing and illustrations to martial arts. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you fucked up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. Everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. Like, I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning. If you're suppressing masculinity, you're going to bring on hard times. Masculinity doesn't mean you're mean. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're angry. It means strength. Yes. It means discipline. I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was like in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous that other people were scared of. He said, people think that you should be weak and you should be docile and then you should be a pacifist. He goes, no, you should be a monster. He said, you should be a monster, you should be ruthlessly ambitious, and then learn how to control it. And it's that old expression, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Then all of a sudden responsibilities stack up. And all of a sudden, you know, you have to pay bills, you have obligations, you have so much that you have to think about.
Yeah.
For so many people, there's this period of their life where they look back to whimsically, like that was the time when I was free.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be that positive reinforcement for somebody and add value. It's so easy. But some people choose to throw that aside and kick while you're down. I try to put out the light of positivity because whoever's out there, I don't know what it could do for somebody else. But somebody else may just simply look at me and say, yo, the way that he embraces his kids makes me want to be a better father. Yo, the way that this man doesn't stop and the way that every day he wakes up and he's just positive regardless of what's going on makes me realize that this shit ain't so bad.
Anything is possible. I mean, that's really...
Anything can happen.
That's the loss of innocence, is when you realize at a certain point that you do have to pick a path and stay on it.
Oh, yeah. You better.
Because you got to pay the bills with it. And
you find someone, maybe it's just a YouTube video, and it's you saying it's still your motherfucking set, and it's you just pushing people and telling people to go get after it, and people see that, and all of a sudden it's like they get goosebumps, their heart starts racing. It's like you gave them a drug, like you gave them fuel, and then they want to change their life, and then they want to watch you tomorrow, and then they want to watch you when they're at lunch break, they want to watch you, they're taking a shit, you know, they're watching you on their phone, but that's fuel, and you literally can change a person's life through that.
you know, and then what's so sad is you see people that work so fucking hard for not a lot of money, and, you know, bills just add up, and then they save just enough when they get their vacation twice a year. They'll go to, like, a cruise, and they'll just drink nonstop for a week. And at the end of it, they're just hungover. They blew the excess money they had, and that was it? That's what you worked all year for?
Because we need each other. I mean, it's one more piece of evidence that we need each other, and that we have this sort of very strange, loose-fitted community of all human beings together. When someone like you does something that's exceptional and says something that's exceptional and has these inspirational words, it can change a person's whole life, change their whole path, change who they are.
The way that he gets up and says, hey, today's another day, it's a morning, let's all be better than we were yesterday. Somebody probably needed to hear that. The more that I can give that out and I can take my platform to throw good energy out, I'm doing my part. Because there's so many that throw out the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that.
I really think we all collectively, as a species, need to emphasize and learn how to be nicer to each other. Nobody teaches you that.